Charlamagne has read up his deal with iHeartMedia and has announced some big moves to come. Let's check it out. We got Charlamagne signs a 5-year, $200 million deal with iHeartMedia, extending his time with the Breakfast Club for several more years. Give it up, man. That's too fire. So fire. Now, what is happening, family? Currently, there are a lot of moves being made in the industry, mostly by Netflix. We got the Breakfast Club is headed to Netflix under new deal inked with iHeartMedia. All right, so let's check this out. Netflix announced that 15 video podcasts, including the Breakfast Club, are joining its lineup after inking similar deal with Spotify. Charlamagne the God is heading to Netflix. This week, the streaming giant announced it has signed an exclusive video podcast deal with iHeartMedia, bringing a slate of popular video podcasts to the platform, including the long-running morning talk show, The Breakfast Club, according to Deadline. The agreement covers 15 podcasts in total and marks Netflix's latest expansion into video-first podcast programming. The announcement comes just weeks after Netflix struck a similar deal with Spotify in October, as the company continues to grow its podcast offerings and compete more directly with YouTube, which currently dominates the video podcast space. In addition, The Breakfast Club, the deal includes several other iHeartMedia titles such as My Favorite Murder, Bobby Jones Presents The Bobbycast, Behind the Bastards, Dear Chelsea, This Is Important, Joe and Jada, and the Psychology of Your 20s, amongst other variety reported. With this partnership, we are incredibly excited to offer our members such unmatched variety and to deliver highly entertaining podcasts featuring some of the world's most dynamic personalities. Lauren Smith, Netflix Vice President of Content Licenses and Program Strategy, said per The Hollywood Reporter. Originally launched in 2010 by Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee, The Breakfast Club has since become one of the most influential radio shows in hip-hop and black pop culture. The show, airing weekdays, is currently hosted by Charlamagne, DJ Envy, Just Hilarious, and Lauren LaRosa. Over the years, the program, with a unique mix of humor, candor, and controversy, has generated countless viral moments and headlining making interviews, hosting everyone from chart-topping artists and actors to activists and political figures. Under the new deal, full episodes of The Breakfast Club and the other participating podcasts will be available to stream exclusively on Netflix starting in early 2026. Now, family, let me explain something. Charlamagne, although The Breakfast Club is going to Netflix, he did not ink a deal directly with Netflix, but he did ink a deal with iHeart, who then inked the deal with Netflix. Let me explain something to you. Charlamagne was able to get the bag out of iHeart because iHeart was going to get the bag from Netflix. Now, you got to remember, Charlamagne brings so much value today. Although I call Charlamagne a black woman when it comes to his takes today, because he's so PC'd, he had to become the PC guy he is to get the bags he is today. It's an elevation, okay? Now, Charlamagne is the CEO of the Black Effect podcast, which has so many names under it. Again, which is signed with iHeartMedia. Charlamagne brings a lot of value. His podcasts, I'm sure, are bringing in millions in revenue. That's a fact. Black Effect is huge. He has the Big Banks podcast. At one time, I know he had 85 South. I know he had the Two Black Girls. He has an array of podcasts under his umbrella. Charlamagne is a movement. He's not a businessman. He's a businessman. Let him handle his business down. Now, family, call me what you want, but I must bring in a petty portion of this that I truly do believe. Family, we always have to remember Charlamagne and Joe Budden are the two evil geniuses that have went back and forth their entire careers. Now, at one time, Charlamagne was easily stumping out Joe Budden, although Joe Budden was still pushing his independent campaign. Now, what happened? Joe Budden's independent campaign has come to fruition, and for a moment, Joe Budden was almost seeming as if he had the upper hand and who was the bigger, who is bringing in the more money today. We got to remember, there was a report that came out. Joe Budden making $20 million a year. Let's pull it up. Joe Budden makes $20 million a year from podcasting, all right? This is important, family. This is very important because you got to know your boy Jay. I see, even though Charlamagne is one of the most humble guys you'll ever hear about, trust me, he's still in the game, okay? Former rapper Joe Budden says he makes $20 million a year from his podcast network, which is amazing. Let's never get it twisted. 20 M's a year is amazing. Now, that's his current projections. These projections as an independent source could change. They can go up, they can go down. You never know. This 20 million is not guaranteed a year, but it's what he's currently valued at. Family, do you think it's a coincidence that Charlemagne's deal is worth twice per year as Joe Budden? Do you think that? I don't. I don't think it's a coincidence at all. I think it's a chess move. Joe Budden comes out, I'm making $20 million a year. He was still shitting on Charlemagne for being under the iHeart umbrella. He would always say Charlemagne is not a real owner. Well, let me ask you this, family. Would you rather be a real owner making $20 million or a partner, not a worker, a partner making $40 million a year? Like, break it down. 200 M's through 5 years. He's making 200 M's through 5 years. You bust it down. Let me just show it to you on screen. How about that? Let's get out that handy dandy calculator. Okay? We got 200 M's divided by a simple 5. That's 40 M's per year. Easy. And I ain't even showing y'all the calculator. What is happening right now? That's 40 M's a year. Point blank period. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Charlamagne is making twice as much as Joe Budden is currently making. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think Charlamagne knew the number he wanted and wouldn't probably sign until they got either to it or as close to it as possible. There you go. All right. So again, if you asking me, Charlamagne is currently up in the war between Joe Budden and himself. I don't think it's a coincidence that he announces, although he never makes announcements, that he is going to be making 200 M's for the next 5 years after Joe Budden announced he's making 20 M's per year. Now he's making 40 M's per year. All right, family, I will indeed keep you up to date on this. Now,